Hi everyone. So today we are going to start with a poem whose message is going to be very important, and it is not going to be some emotional thing or in context of any emotion, but it is going to be more than uh, you know it is somewhere related to the nature and how we can protect the nature. And this is not the first poem that you're going to read about nature and how we can protect. It is about a single thought that probably must have not struck your mind. There are multiple thoughts that come in our mind every day, every second, every moment, right? There are 12 you can count up to 12 in your clock, right? Starting from 1 to the 12 in the night. So there are total 24 hours in a day. So I don't think that that particular thought that you're going to read in this poem would have stuck in your mind ever before reading this. But I'm sure after reading this poem, you will definitely develop that idea, and it is going to be really helpful for all of you. So let's start. Yeah. So see, the name of the poem that we are going to read today is Keeping Quiet. Okay. So, what is the literal meaning of being quiet? Being quiet here means to stop for a while and introspect. Just don't do things mindlessly, right? There are two terms, mindlessly, and the other is mindful. Okay, so don't do anything mindlessly. Instead, think about what you're doing. Think about the repercussions of what may happen. So when we start with, just a second. Yeah. So when we start with the poem, we will read this two lines. What does the title of the poem suggest to you? That exactly we have discussed. What do you think the poem is about? So to understand the answer of this, we'll start reading. Now we will count to 12 and we will keep still. So here this 12 has a lot of relevance. Okay. You know about zodiac signs? There are some zodiac signs about you. Virgo, Capricorn, Piscean, etc. So it is believed that there are 12 zodiac signs. Okay. And when you see a clock, like I just told you, so the numbers mentioned on the clock are also 12. Okay. If I talk about the months, there are 12 months in a year. So there are 12 months, there are 12 zodiac signs, and there are 12 numbers of the clock. So what is the poet trying to say through this? That for a complete year, 12 months means 1 year. And for all the hours starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, and he wants all the zodiac signs to just count to 12. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It could be these watch numbers also. It could be these multiple months also. So all the 12 zodiac signs, this message is to each one of you through the poet that you have to count to 12 and you have to keep still. That means don't move. Just take a 12-second pause, for example. Okay, just take the 12 as 12 seconds. For once on the face of the earth, for once means an exceptional situation. Sometimes say that at least for once listen to me. That means an exceptional situation. So the poet is trying to say that at least for once on the face of the earth, let us not speak in any language. Now, why is the poet emphasizing on not speaking any language? See what happens here is, children, there are two drawbacks. If you speak in different language, you will not be able to understand each other. And this is what happens when we go to some other parts of the world. One barrier that we all face is the language barrier. We are not able to understand what the other person is saying, and some of us don't want to understand intentionally. We don't want to understand. And second is language perspective, that if we start speaking bad about each other, which we usually do. So the poet is saying, don't speak in any language, even if it's a foreign language or even it is a bad real language. Just stop that. Stop that for 12 seconds. Stop that for 12 months. Just try out this thing. Unexpectedly, all of a sudden, let's start this change. Let us stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Move our arms here means when we move our arms so much, that means when we work so much, we try to show our strength to the world. that I am so powerful, I can do this and do that. The poet is saying that every day you do the same, every day you wake up and go to the office, but today you just give a small pause. Don't move much, don't move your hands, don't show your strength to anybody. It would be an exotic moment. Exotic is something that is unbelievable, very high, very special. Why it will be special? Because it will not be as ordinary as other days. You're going to stop that day. You're going to stop doing that something that day. Without rush, without it just means when you stop going somewhere, there will be no cars, no trucks, nothing on the road. There will be no rush, no traffic, no chaos. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Sudden strangeness means it will be a very awkward moment. And it is understood why it is going to be awkward because every day we are in the rush of life. We don't think. We just wake up. We have so many tensions in our mind. We have to go to the school or we have to go to our workplace. Then we have to complete our target. We have to give our test, irrespective of all the professions that you have. So the poet is saying, give that thing a little silence. Stop taking your car. Stop polluting the environment, at least for one day. Think about what you are doing. Now, here are certain figure of speech up till here in the lines. Let me tell you. I've always told you that whenever there is a repetition of the consonant sound of a particular alphabet, it is called alliteration. So here we will in these two is alliteration. I'm writing it's what it is alliteration. Now when I come to the next, it is without and without. Now this without and without is not alliteration because here there are two different words which are being repeated. So when the words are being repeated, it is called repetition. When the consonant alphabet sound is repeated, it is called alliteration. And when the word itself are repeated, it is called repetition. So without here is repetition. Similarly, now if you see sudden strangeness as it is, so it is going to be alliteration. Now, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Now, why? What is the poet trying to say here? When the fisherman also stop for a while, what is going to happen? That he is not going to harm the whale. That means destruction will stop. And this is what we want, right? If you ask everyone to stop, then the destruction will also stop because the fisherman will not go to the sea. And when he will not go to the sea, the fishes will be saved. So, in a way, you have stopped 1% of the destruction. And the man gathering salt would look at his bird hand again, the alliteration. Now, what is the poet trying to say? That there is a man who goes and collect the salt, but out of that hurry, he doesn't have time to check his bird hands. So in a way, he will also get time to understand what is he doing with his hands, what is he doing actually. He will understand the purpose of what is he doing. Those who prepare green wars with gas. So here, green you can say it is pollution or destroying the environment. Green means when you're trying to pollute the environment. Wars with gas. Gas means when you're depleting the ozone layer with a certain gases. Ozone layer depletion. Okay. Then wars with fire. Victory with no survivors. And put on clean clothes and walk about with their garments in the shade. So he's saying there are people who do all kinds of destructions in their complete day-to-day processes. Like they completely destroy a lot of things, right? They do the destruction with the ozone layer, they destroy the environment, they ruin everything around them. And then there is no point of victory when there will be no survivor. The poet is trying to say that if you do all those things, there will be a day when there will be no survivor. There will be nobody on the planet. So who are you going to share your victory with? Because after so many wars, war with gas, war with fire, green war. Do you think that people are going to survive? No. So who are you going to share this victory with? That is why the poet is saying take a pause and just introspect about your actions. So here again, word and word they are repeated. So it is called repetition because both are repeated. And there is alliteration also, which is clean clothes, CC. So this is going to be the alliteration. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Now, the poet is saying some of you may really get confused with what you have to do. The poet is not saying that you have to be inactive, just sit in the house and do nothing. That the poet, you can just stop your work and say the poet has asked us not to do anything. No. They are saying that whatever activity you are doing, make sure it is not harming someone, make sure it is not ruining the environment. The main purpose of this poem is to give a thought in your busy lives, to stop yourself for 12 seconds and just think about what you are doing and how these things are impacting the environment or the people around you. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. Truck with death means he doesn't want soldiers. He doesn't want people to die. He doesn't want such kind of destruction because whatever things we are doing, whatever activities are doing, they're ultimately leading us to death. So the poet is saying that I don't want any truck with that. He doesn't want soldiers and other people also to die. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once we do nothing. Now, what is the poet emphasizing? That the single-mindedness is referred to as being selfish. So the poet is saying that most of the human problems are occurring because they are selfish. Why? For example, I'll give you a small example. Suppose a person has two cars in the home, okay, and there are two people who are going to the office. So one person goes by the car. Now there is an option with the other person that he can choose to go by metro or a public transport. It could be a bus also. But because that person is selfish, he wants his own comfort, he will use the second car. And in a way, there will be two cars, everything gases in the on the roads, right? Just a second, children, please. Yeah. So what is the poet saying? That, yeah, so I was just giving you an example. The person here will not think that the two cars are going to create a lot of pollution, right? They're going to pollute, but because they're selfish, they want their own comfort, they will travel. So that is what poet is trying to say, that if we were not so single-minded and could actually think about the repercussions, the world would have been a better place. Perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves to death. So he says that this huge silence that will come as an action of not doing anything, it will help us to understand ourselves. We will be able to understand ourselves as to what we have been doing, and our actions have been such that we are threatening our own self. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now, see, there, first of all, we need to understand what figure of speech is used here. Earth can teach us. Now, you all know that earth is basically a non-living entity, right? There are many living organisms on the earth, but earth itself cannot be called as a living thing. Earth cannot walk, earth cannot eat, and etc. in literal terms. So, whenever we use an object, inactive object, and we portray it as a living object. Whenever we portray a non-living object as a living object, it is called personification, which is very easy from the name also, person. So when you make any inanimate object, anything which is non-living, and you show it as a person, then that is called as personification. So here Earth can teach us this personification, because here we are trying to show that Earth is a person and he is trying to teach us something. So they're giving, the poet is giving and the poet is giving an example of earth. Sometimes when on earth you have barren lands, there are a lot of destructions. And when everything is dead on the earth, but earth never stops. You will see the earth grown again, grows again. It becomes alive again. The barren lands of the earth, they are grown again and they are again productive and they again generate a lot of stuff. So take example from the earth. Earth is not doing any destruction. Even when earth is quiet for a long time, quiet means when there is little destruction on the earth regain itself. So that is what the poet is trying to say, that be like earth. Give yourself some time and come back with a lot more interest or a lot more things in your life. Now I will count up to 12. Now here what the poet is saying, that it is time for him to leave. In the starting, it was the beginning. Now the poet is saying, now I will count up to 12. This means that he is going to leave. Now why is going to leave? Because he has already given you the message. So now the poet is understanding, the poet is hoping that the message of the poem is clear to my readers. So now he's again saying that I will count up to 12 and then I will leave. And you keep quiet. So again, he's giving you the last message, that if you have understood what I've tried to explain you in the poem, be quiet, stop your movement, stop the war with gas, war with soldiers also, stop everything for a while, and now I will go. So just introspect. So I hope this short poem had a very good meaning, and most of us can implement it in our ways also. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Keep sharing, keep liking, and keep subscribing our videos. Thank you.